Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing Bug Tempo with Witherbloom Command. This card is ridiculous. This kills not only Beanstalk and Quarry Steelcutter, but it also recurs a land. It kills Flip Tamios. It kills a lot of stuff. It's killed just in the previous league that I played. It went after a Bowmaster. It went after a Carpet of Flowers. Really good card. And we've got Rakshasa's Bargain, the new hotness. I'm excited to cast this. It's way better than Stock Up, in my humble opinion. And when you're playing the three colors for it, then you can cast it on curve. You don't have to pay extra mana to cast it. So we do have 3 green sources. We've got a Trop, we have a Bayou, and we have a Hedge Maze. So we will be able to get green when we need it. The rest of the deck is basically blue-black tempo. We've got the 4 Orcish Bowmasters. We've got the 4 Tamios. We got the Kaito, and we have Nethergoyf as just an additional creature that can enable Kaito. I definitely want Kaito coming down. We've got double Brazen Borrower, don't leave home without him. And we've got double Murktide to close the game. 19 lands in the deck, 8 fetches, 8 fetchables, 4 wastes. That's not right. 7 fetchables, 4 wastes. And then we have the 8th fetchable in the sideboard. We can bring this in when we need to bring in Harbinger of the Sea. We can bring this is very good against like decks that play a lot of colors. This is very good against decks that are just land strategies, basically 12 post type decks. And then we've got a Carpet as well for like tempo mirrors. And then we have 3 Graveyard Hate cards in 2 Nile Spellbombs and a Grafdigger's Cage. I like Nile Spellbomb when you can cast it, but Grafdigger's Cage is the superior Graveyard Disruption card. It does interact negatively with Nethergoyf, so we just have to keep that in mind, but we've only got 1 Nethergoyf. The main change I've made is I am convinced that Quarry Steelcutter type Delver is really good. Moonstomp is also an issue. And, of course, Painter. So why not just have a 4th Blue Blast? This is extreme. Nobody else is doing this. Call me crazy, cranky, contrarian, whatever. But I am going to play a 4th blast effect. I'm playing Blue Elemental Blast here, inferior to Hydroblast, but like they cost like a ridiculous amount on MTGO. So I'm just going to use the Blue Elemental Blast. They're practically the same. Okay, and that's it. 3 days is 4 Wastelands, so the tempo plan is intact, and we are going to hope to get some Kaito down and take over some games. See you in round 1. Round 1, we're up against an unknown opponent, Music 00 Soba. 2 things I love very much, Music and Soba Noodles. We got a very flexible opener here. This is a great hand. On the draw in this round 1 on this lovely April day. Tamio's out. I'm just going to push her. We might get into a force fight over her. Yeah, let's push her. I've learned to respect her to the extent that you don't want her to create even a single clue if you can prevent it. Gosh, please don't daze this. That'd be a beating. Okay, that's great. Squeaky clean. 1 for 1. Now, I don't want to daze this turn. We could be up against... Okay, they had the Brainstorm. We could be up against Jeskai. Jeskai also plays Tamio. This is fine. I've got less land. I'm going to go ahead and play my Tamio now. So I'm thinking blue-black tempo. Tamio is not a shoo-in for any, like just any deck anymore. There was a time when she was. When like basically any blue deck, but like the new Quarry Steel Delver deck, it's not playing her. That's fine. It's a 1 for 1. I'll accept it. We don't have a lot going on, but we have a ton of lands. I'm hoping they continue to waste us. Oh, no. Well, I'm going to try to find an answer for her, but she could take over the game for sure. I don't want to force her because then like I literally have no selection other than my Surveil land. Okay, that sucks. Yeah, let's go ahead and ponder. Bowmasters is great. I mean, these cards are awesome. I think I'm just going to not do anything here. I'm going to play out a land. I want both of these cards. I want them to flip her so I can Witherbloom her. I think I'm going to put... Am I going to put Bowmaster in the grip or Witherbloom? I'll put Witherbloom in the grip. It's the least important. Bowmasters is both an answer to Tamio, at least Tamio Ultimate. So we need to be mindful of... We don't want to shuffle this. So we're not going to shuffle it at all. Unless there was like some catastrophic thing where we needed to pay for a daze on some spell that we didn't anticipate being there. Yeah, they're getting their value engine going. Do they have more land? I think it's fine to let this happen, and then we just, we let them flip her, and then we just Witherbloom her next turn. Daze protection. They may find a land off this. It's okay. So this does get her out of contention for being able to, like, to some extent, like once they flipped her, they can no longer save her because she's already been transformed. All right, let's go get our green source here. Black, green, Witherbloom. I will mill myself. I will destroy that Tamio. Abomination. What is it? Our glorious Tamio is there. Okay, and yeah, we can daze for the blowout. I'll just buy this back to hand. Okay, that's pretty good, as the FTX guy says. Let's grab... I'm actually running kind of low on vegetables. I'm going to grab this Underground Sea instead. And we'll just pass with Surveil up. They pitched Force to Force, which is good for them. I mean, like if you're going to pitch... Wow, keep those Tamios coming. My goodness. They're definitely on 4 Tamio. We're definitely up against blue-black tempo that's just color screwed. Take the Hedge Maze here. Looking for removal. We're not looking for more land. We've got those covered. Oh my goodness. Come on, deck. I'm working very hard here to try to keep our opponent, to beat back our opponent. And you're giving me nothing but land. This happened in like one of the previous matches that I played today. I recorded, this is my second league that I'm recording today. All right. And yeah, I drew like 5 land in a row and it was just devastating. It was catastrophic. Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and go in here. Black, blue. Just get our beats going. Where are my lands, lol? Well, you can have some of mine. My goodness. That's what my opponent said, by the way. If you're not like paying attention over the chat. Okay, so if we find another Bowmasters to pile on, that's a good thing. And if I find a Thoughtseize, that's good. Lots of things I can find. Thoughtseize, Brazen Borrower. Brazen Borrower just bouncing her back to hand is not terrible. But she doesn't really matter. Our own Tamio is fine. I wish I could draw more than one of these. Because I do think Thoughtseizing is fine here. Because they may have like a removal spell. I'm going to go like this, and I am going to Thoughtseize them this turn. We're in no danger of losing our mana. If they have a fetch, what I'll probably do is I will go ahead and play the Wasteland. No, because I want to keep them off Surveil. I just need to take a Fatal Push or Bowmasters if they have one of those. They didn't want to give me any more information. That's great. I think that was probably a premature concession. Okay. Swamp comes in. Again, I'm going to assume with the Wasteland that they're a tempo. We're playing probably stock blue-black tempo. It would be my best guess. Now Spellbombs can come in. Thoughtseizes come out against tempo decks. Force can come out. I think that's it. So we have a ton of mana sources, just to be clear. We're going all the way up to basically 21, which may be going overboard. But I don't want to get wasted out of the game. I don't, like I've said this many times in previous videos, like my play style is to play games and not non-games. I'm not a high risk, high reward type gamer. I'm not a Tony Scapone gamer who's like cool with spending like half of their games like in what's called garbage time, where like nothing is happening and you're just sitting there drawing and, you know, hoping that you find, you know, the card that you can use to go off. Like I want to be able to actually interact and do stuff and not have any one game be a total blowout, if that makes sense. And I think that's what most control gamers like. They like stability. They like some degree of predictability. They like, you know, the most of their matchups for being in the 40 to 60 percentile range. This seems like a solid hand. There's a temptation to get the island here for the Ponder and then to just wait on the Witherbloom. I do want to kind of ponder before my opponent starts doing, you know, Bowmaster stuff. They've got their island. I want mine. That sounds like something that Larry Ellison would say. They've got their island. I want mine. Founder, one of the 3 founders of Oracle that's still alive, I guess. Actually, I think the story with Oracle is one of Bob Kahn, I believe his name, unfortunately passed from cancer. And then the other founder just like pieced out pretty early on. But Larry Ellison very quickly asserted himself and took over the company and has since been doing things like flying his Harrier jet around the Golden Gate Bridge to show off his wealth. And they find him and he's like, sure, just find me every time I fly my Harrier around the Golden Gate Bridge. I don't mind. Just billionaire things. All right. This is another card that I'd like to cast before the Bowmasters come out. I think I am going to go for the island here and we're just going to play conservative. I'm not going to be able to force anything next turn. These are not, well, this is the 3rd land source. I don't think this is bad. I'll Should I put the ponder in hand just in case I need a force? Yeah, I'm just going to do it like this. We got plenty of time. I haven't gone to time at all since with bug tempo. But the second I start playing beans, the clock becomes an issue. All right, no plays. So this means probably a Bowmaster, which will almost certainly get forced. I don't want to deal with it. Well, if they cast the first Bowmaster, as I like to say, let he who is without sin cast the first Bowmaster. We could even bait the Bowmaster. Top card is not exceptional. I'll play this out and we can use that to get the swamp if we need it. It is in our deck. We've got two ways of answering a Bowmaster if they resolve it. I'll let them resolve it. The main scary thing about letting them resolve a Bowmaster is that they could Kaito us, and that'd be uncounterable. So if they instep Bowmaster, I think I'm going to go ahead and just Bowmaster in the instep. So I'm going to set an instep trigger here. Well, no, I'll just wait and see what they do. I can set it when the Bowmaster's on the stack. By the way, if you're like, why don't you have any triggers? Like, why do you use so few, stops? I think is what they're called. The reason is I just Pokemoki talked me into like removing that stop, and I'm grateful that he did because it saves so much time. So here what I'm going to do is I am going to set a stop temporarily. I'm going to let this happen. I'm going to let them poke me, get their poke on. I cannot count. It's like one of the ways I lose is I lose to Kaito. So could be a day's blowout here, but I'm going to take the risk. I have double forces if I really need to stop this, but I don't want to get Kaito'd. All right, there we go. And if they take out mine, it's fine. Okay. Because I can take out a second one with Witherbloom. I've got lots of means of stopping these. Yeah, this is fine. I will force another one because I don't think they have days anymore if they have Bowmaster now. And I'm going to go ahead and pitch the Brainstorm because that's uncastable under Bowmaster anyway. Okay. And that worked out fine. So we have the Bowmaster, they do not. They've already gone through two of their Bowmasters. So I'm going to go ahead and ponder first. Well, okay, so I do want to go ahead and fetch here. I'm going to go get a Trop just because like I want to be able to get two of these cards if I see two cards I like. And I do. These are all pretty good except for the days. The days kind of sucks now. I guess I'll go like that. Now I'll just come in for a hug. I could regrow a land for next turn, but I want to dare to dream that there's going to be something more powerful we can do with this. It could be that like what is on top is not good enough. I don't know. If they tap out for like something like a 3-drop, like a stock up or something like that, I will be happy that I have a days on top. What? Entomb? You're on freaking Entomb? I never would have guessed that. Luckily, I do have the Spellbombs in. Do we let this resolve? They already have lots of reanimation effects. I'm going to let it resolve. Because reanimating an Orcish Bowmaster is also probably GG. So tracks of the yard. Okay, and I can use my days now. It's days that I patiently plopped on top of my deck. Sorry to use that word plop. It's too weird to say that. Okay, and I can shuffle away the second Fatal Push, which I don't want, or I can just Witherbloom command it away. Bring back this to hand. 2 cards left. Hopefully they're cantrips. All right, now we are looking very much for one of our 2 now Spellbombs. We do have, oh no, yeah, we're getting off of force here. Okay, it's not that big of a deal. We have another days, which I don't really want, and we have a Tomio. I don't want this Fatal Push. I'm going to draw through these. I'm going to draw the... Yeah, I need both of these. I'll draw the days just in case it's relevant. Yeah, if they have a second reanimation effect, we're pretty screwed. I mean, I'm tempted to just Witherbloom here. Clear those bad cards. Drain some life. It doesn't feel good. But I don't like those cards. I just needed to make sure I had a blue card. It feels bad. We'll get back one of our fetches. We got a fetch for next turn. Let's go in for a hug. Okay. And we can bring in an additional sideboard card. Our Graph Digger's Cage, I didn't bring that in. It's fine. It's done its job already. That's fine. So we have 2 more Bowmasters we can find. But the best draw in our deck, hands down, now Spellbomb. Now, if they find Reanimate, they may be tempted to go for it. They don't. So we still have a Surveilling in our deck. Bowmasters, love it. Okay, so we have Force for their reanimation effect, and we have Bowmasters for the cantrip. They have 2 cards in hand. They're going to go up to 3. But they are favored probably. Okay, what does this do? Draw a card, then discard a card. You may exile a non-land card. I'm going to let this happen, and I can just counter the plotted. I think plotted cards can be countered. Yeah, and then when they plus, I'm going to go ahead and Bowmaster the Jace. And I can just attack it to death. All right, you take 1 Jace. Abhorrent Oculus, okay. That dies to Fatal Push, thankfully. Yeah, and I didn't see they were doing that ability. I thought they were doing the other one. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just kill the Abhorrent Oculus with Fatal Push. I'm going to take some loyalty off of Jace there. Oh, wait. I can just kill Jace straight up. So we'll attack Jace, and we'll attack them. Then we'll just pop that token back into hand here. That was a great draw. So Jace dies. Then we can Surveil. Looking for the Nile Spellbomb. Wasteland's not the worst. I didn't play a land this turn, did I? I think I'm actually going to do that. This card's not terrible. Brazen Borrower. I'm going to keep it, but I want the Wasteland this turn. Probably go for this. Just so they can't bounce it back. Okay, and now we can pass. And they can do their thing, but I will just Fatal Push it. Okay, that resolves. I do not want them to get any value off this. If they have a daze, that's a pity. I'll be forced to probably... Yeah, you can do that. I can just stun this and attack through with my giant orc army now. We still need to clear, get that Attracts out of their yard though. This is in their end step though, so it's a little less dangerous. That worked. We're so favored. This game's over. Yeah, good game. Wow, that felt great. I love me some Bowmasters. This is Kaito. Those dazes were great. See you in round 2. We're up against Island Ponder Scoop, likely on Omnitell with the Green Splash. Yes, Green Splash. That's the way to do it, by the way. I firmly believe that Veil of Summer is correct. You should be playing it in your... which I will be producing some videos with Omnitell. I didn't want to buy the cards on MTGO. Just waiting for my creator account, and then I'll play it. I did get accepted, and they're going to give it to me any day now, is what they said. So, yeah, we're going to snap keep this. This is a great hand. Wasteland may be helpful. Bowmaster is very good against them. They mold a 5. So they may not be on this because it's rare that an Omnitell opponent molds a 5. But if they did, then I'm here for it. Just a quick note, while our opponent was figuring out what they wanted to mulligan, I did a quick check, and it was actually Bob Miner. Bob Kahn is a different person involved with Vintsurf and development of like some different protocols early on for the internet. Bob Miner was the Oracle co-founder who died from a rare form of lung cancer, which is generally caused by exposure to asbestos. And the other gentleman who founded Oracle, sorry, this is not like a business history podcast, but I just want to set the record straight. He wasn't necessarily squeezed out that early. He left in 1996, but he did leave. And generally, you don't want your founders leaving. Okay, so I'm going to let this happen. The Thoughtsseizing themselves, I didn't see that. Well, this makes a lot of sense. Island Ponder Scoop, you've joined the dark side. You're supposed to be scooping after Island and Pondering, not doing this. Okay, let's get our Surveil trigger up, or we could just waste them. I think actually wasting them is fine here because there's a decent chance they're not going to draw more mana sources. They got 2 cards in their hand. I don't generally do this. Yes, we get an extra. So we're like living on extra time basically, and we're drawing freaking lands like left and right. We're drawing lands like it's going out of style. All right, Surveil time. Thoughtsseizing yourself. That is one way to live your life after mulling to 6, or mulling to 5. Island Ponder Scoop, you used to be a control gamer. What happened to you? Who hurt you? Okay. This is getting ridiculous. This number of freaking lands that we're drawing. I do want to get on board, and then I want to shuffle some of these away. I'm not going to do anything right now with this Force of Will up. We have to be able to stop a reanimation effect. It's worth noting that Orcish Bowmaster does make Gristlebrand a pretty crappy card. I feel like if your name is Island Ponder Scoop, like that self-effacing kind of like humor, self-deprecating, but like it's kind of you know, every time you get like an island ponder hand, it's got to kind of weigh on you. All right, so options. I think what we do is we force this because let's say hypothetically they did bring back Gristlebrand. They'd be able to attack. They wouldn't be able to draw. They would be able to race us. What do they exile? They exile in a tomb, which makes sense. I mean, there's a decent chance they just take our force. I'm going to go ahead and play this out. And I'm going to let it happen. Because Brainstorm, if they don't go off immediately, Brainstorm is pretty good. We don't really have a lot of answers to resolve Gristlebrand if they do have their land they're about to go. And that's why they're doing this. They could take the Brainstorm and just leave us with the force. But I feel like that's, what's their plan? I think they have to take the force here. Okay. Well, they are going to go for the Gristlebrand. So I was joking about their, play and everything, but it looks like they're going to win. Play a Douthy Voidwalker or something. Don't cast a reanimation effect. Man, they went all in, literally every single card on the table. Yeah, they have it. Okay. So let's stay positive. They can't use Gristlebrand's ability or they're a lunatic. You don't Gristlebrand into an Orcish Bowmaster. That just cannot be how the game works. They can hit us for a few turns and maybe they can draw cards later. Okay, so it's important to note that we have Witherbloom command and we have Brazen Borrower. So 4 outs. Let's hope to hit them. Thoughtseize, certainly among the worst possible draws. We're going to survive for 3 turns. They're going to build up a lot of life, but they're not going to reasonably be able to use Gristlebrand's ability. I would love for them to use it. Don't get me wrong. I think that'd be great if they decided to use it. I'd kill their Gristlebrand and I would get a whole bunch of life. And I'd get a giant orc army. But I think they're just going to try to slow roll us here. And because we have so many freaking lands in hand, I'm going to fetch the Thin. It is not incorrect in situations like this to fetch the Thin. I realize it takes 1 off the clock, but I just don't think we're winning a situation where they get to keep attacking. No, it can't be correct to fetch the Thin here because that extra turn is a guaranteed draw. That's better than just removing a slight possibility of a card. We increase our likelihood of drawing, those good cards by maybe 3 or 4%, but an extra draw increases our chances by 50% essentially because we've got 3 draws instead of 2. They're doing it. You're a freaking mad lad. Congratulations. Congratulations. You just won a PlayStation 3. Let's, do we kill him and let them just bring him right back? I think that's fine. If we ping them a whole lot, it makes their reanimate effects really bad. But this might be the only window we have to kill him. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Back into the graveyard you go. Yeah, I thought this was a mistake, and I stand corrected. Island Ponder Scoop would know better than me because I've played Reanimator exactly 0 times in my entire life, a fact that I'm very proud of. I'm prideful in my ignorance. I'm just joking. I might play a Reanimator at some point. I don't have the cards for it in paper or on MTGO, but with this account, I might play a bunch of decks just to try to understand how they work a little bit better. It's one of my goals. Okay. So we can hit them for a lot. They're on a 2-turn clock. Did they draw enough to pull back into this? They could just reanimate it. They could Dark Writ, Entomb, do lots of stuff here. They had the Petal, so they could animate dead again. Orcish Bowmaster is overperforming in the current meta. I will say that. I was very skeptical. My early Bowmaster or my early Bug Beans list didn't have any Orcish Bowmaster's main. I've always thought he was a good sideboard card, but this is game 1, and he's maybe going to win us this game. I say he, but there are apparently multiple. Apparently multiple Orcish Bowmasters together only have the toughness of a single human being, which is ridiculous. It's a true flavor fail. They should have called him Orcish Bowmaster if it's just one of them. And the power toughness would suggest it's just one, unless these are the wimpiest, scrawniest archers of all time. All right, guess who's back? Well, the good news for them, they have lifelink. So I'll send my orc army through, but they will gain 6 life and they can draw a bunch of cards if they want. Come on, deck. Don't do me dirty with another land. All right, I'll take it. I'm going to play out a non-ouchie land. They're just letting it through. All right, Reanimate is turned off for the time being. I think it'd be foolhardy to wait to Thoughtseize because it reduces our life total. But I think it's reasonable. I'm going to go for it. We're just looking to remove like an entomb. Something like that. They can always like hang back and block again. Okay, so they can therapy themselves. So we take the therapy. They can't get Atraxa in the yard. They don't have any reanimate. They can reanimate. Yeah, I'm going to take the therapy. Therapy is also good offensively. They could flashback therapy using their Gristlebrand, and then they get Atraxa. They may actually be desperate enough to do that. If they are, I'll just counter the reanimation effect. Yep. So I'm glad I thought Seize there. I think that would have been a mistake not to. We may be dead. Because if they have like a blocker, if they can get an Atraxa out, then they gain a bunch of life, and it has Death Touch, unfortunately, so it stops our Orcish army or our Orc army. So I think they're going to come in. Oh no, are we dead? We may be dead in the air. Yeah, if I hadn't Thoughtseize, we wouldn't necessarily be dead. We would be dead to in a different angle. But they can just take this damage here. Okay, they're doing it. Yeah, targeting themselves. No, they're targeting us. That's fine. They did name Force of Will. They get our forces. Yeah, I think we're actually going to lose this game. They can just they can animate dead on their creature again, or they should animate dead instead of Shallow Grave. And then we have to deal with it yet again. We're yet again beholden to the top of our deck to find us a Witherbloom command or a... And actually we're dead to Shallow Grave too. Next turn, they could just Shallow Grave the Gristlebrand back into play. Attack us for lethal. So Brazen Borrower is probably the best draw. Because what we can do is we can attack and then we can wait until the exact right moment when they're about to attack, and then we can bounce the Animate Dead. We can do it pre-combat. But I'll be stunned if we get a chance. If we get a Tamio, that's fine. Tamio can chump for a turn. Rakshasa's bargain. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Black, blue, green. None of these do it, unfortunately. We could ponder, but we won't have the mana to survive. I think we take ponder and I guess a wasteland. I'm just going to attack and I'm going to see if they make a mistake. Yeah, there's no 1 mana, kill Gristlebrand type effect in our deck, unfortunately. Yeah, it's tragedy. They don't block. They dropped a 4. Okay, we could ponder into Tamio. That's how we survive. It's not a great plan. And we only survive for 1 turn. All right, we did get Tamio. We have Murktide next turn, which will be huge. So I think we might be able to win. No, yeah. Actually, we might be able to. Yeah, because Giant Murktide can go toe-to-toe with this too. If they gain 6 life, they're still alive. We will be able to attack with Orcish Bowmaster as well, so we'll do 9. They gain 6. They'll be at 1. Bye, Tamio. Appreciate you. Thank you for your service. Land drop. If they fetch, they're dead. I'm tempted to just see if I can get them to reflexively fetch. They don't fall for it. Let's go in. Blue, blue. This has been a whirlwind of a game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, yeah. Just in case the game goes on, I'll feel like a fool if I exile Bargain if I can somehow bring it back. So I'm going to go ahead and just do like this. Because Bargain is definitely the card I want to regrow if Tommy gives me a chance to regrow. Like, let's say this game somehow goes on much longer. Okay, now we have a blocker in the air that can effectively kill that. But then they can Shallow Grave it the following turn, but they're going to be dead. Look at all the power on our table. 2/8/8 creatures versus their 6/7. Legacy in 2025, folks. Wow, how I was so ready to scoop, and then I was like, wait, I can tread water with a Tamio, and sure enough, I found a Tamio. They're gonna gain the life, and if they have a way to bring this back without doing they can Shallow Grave it and bring it back to save themselves for a turn, but it doesn't really save themselves for a turn, does it? Because I'm hitting them for 16, and they'll go to 14. I don't think they survive. They have to get Atraxa in their yard somehow. Thoughtseizing themselves. Okay, now they have Atraxa in the yard. Atraxa does have lifelink. So they can Shallow Grave Atraxa and block. That's their last card. But does that save them? So they're taking 8. They're gaining 7. It's a force block, so I can attack with Orc Army. Then they have to Shallow Grave a second time. So they have to get lucky and rip a second Shallow Grave in order to survive. Actually, with that Atraxa trigger, they can totally do it. I'm going to ponder before I attack, because if I can find a daze, I can stop them from being able to Shallow Grave. Okay, and they're going to attempt to do it now, which is fine. Okay. Let's see what they get. They did find another Shallow Grave, by the way. So they can Shallow Grave again next turn. They kept... Okay, so I can just borrow this out of the way, and then we kill them. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, they don't have anything that can stop this instant speed. All right. Ticket. All right. Wow, that was fun. That was a crazy game. All right. So Spellbombs come in. Cage comes in. Wastelands come out. Wasteland being an atrocious card against them. We take out all 4. Yeah, I'll take out 4 and I'll bring in a swamp. And then Force Negation comes in for sure. How many more substitutions we need? Perfect. We'll just take out the pushes. They could have like some sort of creature plan, but like their creatures are not going to outclass mine. My creatures are the best. They rock. 16 lands. We're doing this. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm crazy. 16 lands. We're going to have to mulligan once or twice. It'll be okay. We just have to stop their volleys. That hand last game was great. I would love it if our deck would be so kind as to bless us with a hand that is not, non-functional. But I'm happy to mull once or twice in this matchup. Our opponent will almost certainly be mulling. Okay, wow. 16 land and we drew 6 of them. That is an aberration. We cannot keep this hand. We basically have to keep a force hand because they're turbo. By the way, I recommend the Judas Priest song Turbo Lover, which is a pretty awesome song. There's also Turbo Killer from Carpenter Brute, but I like, they're both great songs. Yeah, Turbo Lover is the 80. Oh, dude, how are we getting hands like this when we have so few lands? This is great. I'll keep this. This is freaking nut hand. I'm going to pitch Kaito because I'm going to get the Spellbomb out. They're going to discard the old-fashioned way, which I am totally here for. I am going to make sure that they do not get to return anything ever. Underground Sea here. Spellbomb. We'll pass. Ba-bomb. So fun to say that. They are unmasking me. I'm going to allow it. I've already got my permission spell on the table. Pedal. They're going to make me not be able to draw by just forcing me to use it immediately. Wow, they have a glass cannon in hand. What is this? Show and tell? If you show and tell, I'll be so sad. Okay, well, I will put my Surveil land into play and lose. Not the contingency I was planning on. Yep, they're going to draw a bunch of cards. This can go to the grave. If we could somehow get Kaito out, that would be great because we'd be able to stun this and attack in. But I don't have much hope for this game. We'll see what they put in there, what they keep in their hand. I don't ever look at what's in there until I just save the mental overhead bandwidth until I see what they keep. So that was a protected turn 2 with show and tell as opposed like their juke. Not a lot I can do about that juke. Like we're already playing 8 force effects. They got 5 cards off of it. These 5 cards, including an Emrakul. Very scary. They're going to take another card from our hand. That's fine. I am pretty screwed here. I think it's probably worth it. Thought season. Like I've got nothing else going on. I think I'm going to take the therapy. I can still Spellbomb them. Even if they have a weird reserve list card. What's it called? I don't know. They've cast it already this league. Shallow Grave. That's it. Okay, and now we have to face the dilemma. Do we want to just get rid of their graveyard, draw a card to increase the likelihood that we can cast Kaito and stun this? I think we do. It sucks, but I think we're in such a dire situation that we're getting rid of that therapy. It's not like completely nothing. Okay, there's the Brainstorm. Now I'm going to Brainstorm as well. We did find a land, folks. So we can cast... We're going to have to shuffle one of these away. Rakshasa's Bargain is definitely the better of these 2 cards. I'll shuffle away the Bowmasters, sadly. Okay. We're very far from being out of the woods, but this does help. We can stun it like 2 or 3 turns in a row because we stun, we plus, we stun. We can stun it twice. I screwed up. I was supposed to draw the Bargain, not this Bowmaster. Well, that is potentially a really big punt. All right. So we're going to get 2 attacks. Okay. They may get lucky and put something useful in their yard. They don't. We basically, if they find another show and tell Emrakul, that can't be beat. We can actually stun it. Okay, this is scary. This is probably another show and tell. You win. I'm not going to beat that. Okay. All right. I tried. I'm fighting my hardest. Okay. They do have some basic, like non-basics. I think I'm going to bring in a Wasteland. Still think Daze is where we want to be. In terms of cards that don't do a lot, Nethergoyf can beat them down. I mean, it's slow. It doesn't have the fanciness of an Orcish Bowmaster. I think Nethergoyf is probably the weakest card in the deck right now. Yeah, let's do it like this. Let's hope to not get mana screwed here. And Nethergoyf has just kind of gotten like, yeah, it'll win the game eventually. It takes a while, but it doesn't do anything to disrupt in the meantime. It just hits them every turn for like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And if you watch the video that I published yesterday, it's pretty good. It's a good card, but like I do think it doesn't pitch to force and it doesn't directly disrupt them. And we are in full defense mode. Like everything on board has to be defensive in nature. We've put all of our weapons away and we are just bringing out our, shields and our disruptors. This is a force blue card hand. I'm going to keep this and I'm going to get Tamio out. And we're going to hope that they mull into the Oblivion because that's what the deck generally does. We can be pretty confident they're not going to be able to disrupt our... yeah, we've got a Brazen Borrower too. We've got an obvious card to pitch to force. Late, if the game goes late, Merc does come out and is relevant. Stack up some clues and we'll just hope to stop their volley and draw enough cards that we can stop them from stabilizing later. Or like we stabilize and they continue to draw, Lotus Petals and Dark Rituals and stuff like that. All right. It's something as simple as a Cabal Therapy and our entire defensive falls apart. That's a very good card. I will force an Entomb if they respond with Entomb to my Thoughtseize. All right. So no monsters in the grip. Only one other land. They won't have the mana to cast the Show and Tell. I mean, it may sound crazy, but I actually think we take Unmask because that is the way that they get stuff into their graveyard. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't just unmask last turn. Yeah, I mean, it sucks to take the 2-for-1 card, but I think it's correct. Leave a comment with the timestamp if you disagree with that. Everything else was redundant. We are going to have to kill them before they eventually draw what they need, and Murktide's going to be a huge part of that, assuming we get some mana on the table. So they're just chilling, looking for a monster, looking for a third land. Speaking of land, no, we are not so lucky. So these forces are going to be very much a band-aid once they get something going on over there. We're just going to be forcing every turn, but like we can only force one show and tell, or we can force both of them, but eventually they're going to overwhelm our forces. They did find the land, so show and tell is live. So we're going to have to burn both of these forces trying to stop whatever monster they're trying to put in. If they don't try to put a monster in this turn, I mean, it could be that they don't even have one and they're just getting the forces out of our hand, which is very sad. But I think we have to respect the fact that they could have a monster. I mean, like, how embarrassing would it be if they did have, like, an Atraxa? All right. First layer of defense breached. Look, create this. I need a land so badly. But my yard is going to be pretty flush. Just shuffle. All right. We did it. Okay. So Bargain is going to be the next card to be pitched just because Borrower is, like, an emergency escape valve against, like, Emrakul and stuff like that. Can Surveil in step. I'll let that happen. I can't allow that to happen. I'm not sure why they floated mana. Maybe they were afraid of Daze and they had the luxury of being able to play a Dark Ritual to avoid it. Thank goodness. This is such a freaking pulse pounder. Okay, we have Murktide next turn. We can start ending them. Force, please give me one of my 6 remaining force effects. I'm going to bin that. This makes Murk bigger. I'm looking for a force explicitly. Now, I could have kept that. But my thinking is, if we get the Merc out and they won't ever be able to block it because we can just bounce several turns in a row. It'll be like game 1 all over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to go Turbo Lover on them. Again, like what I was saying about the Judas Priest song, it's like 1984, I think. Synths were getting really popular and it's like the main kind of like synth anthem by Judas Priest. So it's got this really cool, like kind of crushing, you know. All right, what's your card? Is it Emrakul? If it's Emrakul, we are dead. Oh, it's Griselbrand. Wait, what happened? How did that not work? The lowest mana value? Holy cow! I thought it was the highest. That card sucks. That card sucks. Thank you for giving us a free raise of our. Okay. Well, gosh, I don't know what to say. I was expecting to lose there. All right. So I'm just gonna borrow. I'm gonna ponder into hopeful removal. We just have to survive another turn. I think we brainstorm here because we might find, and that does flip our Tomio, who can do nothing basically, but she's not doing anything in any way. We're never going to cash in these clues. Okay, we didn't get there. I don't think any of these cards are useful. Witherbloom Command actually might be somewhat useful in that it could flip a, or it could destroy an Animate Dead. Yeah, I'm going to do like that, and I'm just going to flip. We'll plus, and I will play out this land. Actually, if I play out the land, then I tell them I don't have force. Maybe I just wait a turn. They're going to need a miracle here. Let's see the scoop. Come on. Yes. That was so intense. My goodness. Now that I've read that card, I realize it's actually really bad. Stronghold Gambit. Like, you should never bring that in against creature decks, I don't think. All right. See you in round 3. All right, round 3, we're up against a likely Hullbreacher strategy. So it's got Narset, it's got a Hullbreacher. My opponent's been playing this a lot lately. Days Undoing, Sink into Stupor, Echo of Eons. So I think against this hand, like, I would be very excited to keep this if we had a freaking way that we could get a black source, but we don't. I mean, Orcish Bowmaster is insane. Fatal Push is not necessarily dead. I do think we had to mulligan this. It sucks. This is even worse. We're mulliganing this. They mulled the 5. Holy cow, we're going to mull the 4. Yeah. I mean, you never know that this is going to happen. This is actually fine. This is pretty good. I'm going to keep this. Cards that we're going to keep. I'm going to keep 2 lands, a Thoughtseize, and a Orcish Bowmaster. Orcish Bowmaster is very good against their deck. Let's see. Do they have any sort of removal? They really just rely on Sink into Stupor to get rid of stuff. So I think Bowmaster is going to be pretty strong here. They could go turbo here. But one of the plus sides is if they do Echo... What is this card? Crackling Falls? Rush of Inspiration. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card at random unless you pay 2 energy. Okay. So maybe they have energy in their deck? Yeah, there's just really rough mulligans there. Kaito, potentially good. I can't really afford for them to waste me. I don't think they're on Wasteland, but like, it would be catastrophic if they wasted me because I need to be able to cast this Bowmaster on curve. So I am going to go ahead and... Oh, I don't have a freaking swamp. Never mind. I forgot. It's in the sideboard. Well, I'm going to be doing this. Let's crack open their hand. We do have a strategy if we find a 3rd land. Okay, so they have Force of Will, Rush of Inspiration is, I think, another one of those lands. Winds of Change. This would actually be really bad if they did this. We have to take the Hullbreacher. Yeah, I feel very confident that Hullbreacher was the take there because they can cast it as early as next turn and then, like, basically everything in their hand mind twists us. All right, as long as they keep this pedal up, we're not going to be able to Bowmaster that. Orcish Bowmaster will necessarily get forced. So they may force Tomio. I have to hope that they do. Because like they'll definitely force the Orcish Bowmaster. This card, draw 2 cards, then discard a card at random unless you pay it. So I'd be surprised if they actually have energy in their deck. I think most likely this is just a land that they can also use as kind of like a crappy kind of like cantrip. Loot effect. There's a pedal. So their sagas are going to be big. I'm going to go get my Surveil land here. I'm just kind of scared of what they might get out of their deck. There wasn't Urza. Oh wait, there were Urza sagas in this list. Probably LED. They've got a lot of scary stuff in this deck. So it's a Karn deck. So half their board is Karnforge stuff. I think we need to take this and we need to plan to do this twice. They forced the first one. Yeah, and then we're going to be fighting through some pretty big constructs, but we might be able to deal with those later. We'll see. I bet you they're going to create a construct here at the cost of a pedal. It's fine. Okay, so they use this. You can only use that once. Let's see what they go get. As far as they know, I'm just holding up a clue activation. I'm not actually holding up anything good. Okay. So this is going to get forced, but they will have fewer cards after the force effect. This is going to flip my Tamiya, which unfortunately kills it. Yeah, this sucks. I don't regret anything. If I had played out the Tamiya, or if I played out the Bowmaster, they would have forced that, and then we wouldn't have to deal with this. What happened? Oh, we did get new cards. Okay. Yeah, so luckily I only had 2 cards in my hand, so I didn't flip Tamiya. That would have been a disaster. It would have been basically like a free lunch on Tamiya. Okay, so let's think about this. I think we just need to get back on land. I don't think we can do a lot here. We take out their Mox Opal. That does crimp their mana. Green. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Their hand is 1 unknown. See, we're going to take 8 this turn. That's a lot. Oh, wait. We're going to take 6 unless they have another artifact. I'll do this, and I'm going to hit this. Get back on land, and I'll play it out. I am not ready to chump yet. I'm just going to create this clue. I'm going to just pretend that there is a future force here. We can always trade our Bowmaster for one of these if we absolutely need to. Okay, they're coming in. So next turn we will have to chump. So I can't attack with Tamiya. And then I can chump a second turn if I need to. No benefit to fetching here. That's an unfortunate draw. Yeah, I think we just need to chill. If they go to combat, I will be tempted to Bowmaster. It's so good against their deck, but this does help us survive because next turn that'll be smaller. I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to hope they don't have a discard effect because I don't want to die. I'm playing like a coward here. If they have like something to bounce, like a token to our hand, we're dead. Like if they have a Sink into Stupor. We did get rid of one of them and we're still alive. We have clues that we can activate. Narset is annoying. We can get rid of their pedal. I think it's worth it. Gives us another Surveil trigger to get deep into our deck. I don't know that that's necessarily what we should have done. Maybe we should have brought the other card back. Yeah, they're going to pay for it. That's fine. Okay, you've got this. Now, your winds have changed. Your other cards are extremely brutal to us. What do you find? Probably need to find like a pedal. Koi Steel Cutter. Okay, they don't have mana for that. That's an unfortunate draw. I'm going to go ahead and Surveil. Pretty big. Now I'm just going to play this out, and I'm going to wait till the next turn so I can drop it. This can block that. They're going to get another activation. We're like super dead if they find what they need. They found a force. Okay. We're going to hope that they have to force our Nethergoyf. We have the card types in the graveyard. I did not actually need to shuffle. I could have waited. They may force this, but if they do, I can just bring it right back next turn. I would actually be very excited if they force this. We have 5 life. I don't need these clues for now. I think it's fine to just chill. Just prevent them from attacking. And then, what did they pitch? They pitched another Narset. Okay, that's good. They can't re-Narset. So during their turn, I can crack this to draw. Narset does not prevent that. It would suck if they land Hullbreacher here. All right. Do they have Echo? If they do, we're probably dead. Let's see if we can find a force off top. That's literally the only thing that saves us here. Good game. They're going to get 7 cards. We're going to get 1. We lose our graveyard. And we don't get any. Yeah, good game. All right. So we know what to do here. Bowmaster is very powerful. We just got very unlucky with those mulligans. I think Force Negation is pretty warranted here. They're playing red. We could shut them off red and I wish I knew how much red they were playing. This is not the deck they're on. They're on a new list. Let's see if they have any lists that have red in them. They may be alternating between different lists. They have gotten pretty good finishes recently. Yeah, no evidence of a red list. I don't know that the Hydroblast belongs, but they are playing that land, which makes me think that like they use red for... Oh, Winds of Change. Yeah. Okay. So I think Fatal Push is really only good against Hullbreacher, which I presume is in their deck. I think Nethergoyf could probably come out. Oh, yeah, I think we are bringing this in because we saw Koi Steel Cutter. So I'll bring in like 3. Maybe I could bring in all 4. What do we cut? Cut Days there, a Tomb deck. It wasn't very good there. Like when versus Ancient Tomb decks, my kind of thinking is you want to get off of, and then we bring in 2 of these just in case they have something we need to kill. Grafdigger's Cage just shut off them flashing back, but I don't think it's good enough. In fact, they may not be playing Hullbreacher. We could bring these in. Is that too... Man, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to bring all 4 of these in. We may have to rebuild. We could cut a land. I don't think that's going to be a big deal. That makes me want to cut the bargains as well. I think I'll go like this. All right. Bowmaster hand with land, please. Hey, this is not bad at all. This is pretty good, actually, because we have pretty early Bowmaster if we need it. I think I'm going to go ahead and ponder. And the reason I'm going to aggressively ponder is I'm looking for Merc to close the game. I'm looking for... And these are all really good cards. We will need this 3rd land. I think we put back Brainstorm. We'll draw this Misty and we'll take the Hydroblast. We can Bowmaster during their turn and we have potentially double Force Up. And then we can Kaito, and Kaito should be really hard for them to beat. Sandstone Needle. Scary. Yeah, I'll let that happen. All right. They are a very explosive deck. No reason not to just pass into their turn, and Bowmaster, if they do something, wins a change. Really a lot of things they could do here that would... Okay. And because it's their turn, we can also Bowmaster. We can also force negation if we need to. I hope I don't need to. All right, we're in. That means that Kaito's likely in. So we're likely to find another blue card. Okay, good. That land's not great, but I'm going to dig for a blue card here. Let's go ahead and go to attacks. Kaito comes in, replacing this Orc army. The ninja becomes a log. All right. One of my favorite samurai memes is when the guy disappears and, oh, you just slashed the log. That happens in Samurai Shodown. Okay, so let's surveil. This Hedge Maze goes to the grave. Comes to hand. We are in a very strong position here. Wasteland would be a great rip. I'm going to go ahead and attack, and then I'll use the 0 ability again. Let's see if we can find that Wasteland. Thoughtseize is good. Bowmasters number 2 is also very good. I want both of these. I think Bowmaster 2 is more important. But Thoughtseize is a good card for next turn. So I'm going to put the Thoughtseize on top, and then I'll take the Bowmasters now. And now we have a Hydroblast and double force protected Bowmaster number 2. I don't think they can win with Bowmaster on the table. I think it's just too disruptive to their drawing plans. Well, a lot of Saga going down over here. Counters off those. What are they doing here? It's a big card. Chandra can't be countered, of course, because Wizards love blue decks. We could just attack this thing to death. I think they're probably going to kill our Bowmaster here. We could just Hydroblast it after they use it. I kind of liked Hydroblasting it and just continuing the attack. Wait, this can deal to... Yeah, that's unfortunate. Well, I am going to go ahead and just Bowmaster ping this, and then I can attack it, kill it. Yeah. I mean, we never had priority where we could interact with it because the way the Planeswalkers work. They're probably going to force this if they can. I'm going to go ahead and pitch Brainstorm here because I may need Tamio to survive. We'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and start with the Thoughtseize. All right. They've got another Chandra. We're going to take that for sure. I'll play out the land. I'm going to go ahead and attack this one. Chandra. Let's look at that hand again. So their hand is Echo of Eon's Narset. I don't really care about Narset. These lands are going to go away. Actually, all 4 of their lands are going to go away soon. Yeah. They are playing a dangerous game with that mana base. Okay, so they did that for a token. Okay, so they have stymied our offensive here. Searching for a Mox. Probably going to put the Echo under it. Another one. Yeah, I'm not sure that I agree with that play. Just creating another one. Sure. I mean, it sucks that we could actually lose this, but we could. Absolutely. I probably should have played out the Tamio last turn. I think that was probably a spew. Now that they have nothing in hand, these reactive cards look pretty terrible. They are literally going to have just these Moxen as mana sources. We don't have Fatal Push on our deck at all, I don't think. Not enough. Let's put a Tamio out and let's just plan to, they're going to attack with both. And I'm just going to chump one, take the other one. And then we will keep creating these. Yeah, they can create another one with their last mana if they want. Well, actually, they can use these. Yeah, I mean, the Saga plan, still getting it done. It's brutal. I mean, their deck seems like total jank. Like, no offense to the deck builder, but like, I mean, look at this stuff. It's terrible, but it's all working out because of the power of Urza Saga. I think that I'm not desperate enough to block the 8/8. I'm just going to block, well, I'll block one of them. All right, we'll hit them. I'm trying to think of what we can even draw. Let's take a look at our sideboard again. I think I may have taken all the Fatal Pushes out, so that limits us to, yeah, all 4 Fatal Pushes. So that limits us to really Brazen Borrower. So Brazen Borrower on one of these would let us get 1, 2, 3 through, and we'd have to keep this back to chump. No, we can't even do that. No. We could just force, though, that would bring us to death if we force an artifact. Yeah, well, we just have to hope for Brazen Borrower, really. Kaito is actually insane here. We can stun one. Let's see, we attack with everything. There'll be 1 shy of death. We have to keep at least 2 back. Okay, so let's say we attack here, here, here. They're going to block 1. 1 will get through. This will be ninjutsu'd out into Kaito. We'll have a clue that we can crack later. They're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 damage. They'll be at 3. They'll probably try to attack Kaito. If they just attack me, I'll have 2 blockers. I will actually die if I attack like that. Okay, here's what I think the play is. I think we Kaito. We just attack with this, and we Kaito. And then we stun one of them. And then we have to chump. Okay, and I think I do want to play the Tamio back out. I mean, I'm not going to want to sit here not cracking this forever. And it represents yet another chumper. So next turn, we attack, we plus, and then we attack, and we can win. If they attack. They can't attack us, basically. They play land for turn. Oh, actually, I think we win anyway. No, we don't necessarily win. I was thinking, oh, we can just attack for 4, but we can't. Oh, all right. So we need to, I'm going to do like this, and we're going to hope to draw a Witherbloom command. Harbinger is too late to the party. What we can do is we can just plus here, and we can chill. We can attack with the Tamio just to create another clue. This will wear off next turn, and they'll be able to attack again with 2 of them. I don't think this kills these. Let's see. No, I think it just becomes an island. So we actively don't want to cast Harbinger at this point. I don't think there's any benefit to cracking the clue now. I'm just going to wait. Let's crack this clue. Tamio's a good card. No thanks. I don't want to deal with Hullbreacher. We're going to pitch back up Tamio. Okay, and they scoop to that. Because I guess they know that I can stun and then attack in for lethal. Yeah, wow, that was a freaking nail biter. Kaito coming in to save us. Yeah, I mean, like, the hand felt insane. And I was like, how could we lose this? Well, how do you lose it? The same way that control decks have been losing games for the past, 3 years or so is, you beat the main plan, but the Urza Saga comes and shows up in full force. I'm not sure that we want all of these blasts. It did kind of rot in our hand, but they are heavy on red. 4 blasts, inadvisable. I think this could be a force negation. I feel force negation is a little more flexible here. Let's do it. Yes, we're heavy on the blasts. We still have 14 initial blue sources, even though we have gone down to 18 land. It's a tempo deck. I mean, like, I would normally be okay with keeping this, but we don't necessarily have a second lane coming. And I don't want to just sit back and like force things, because that's how you lose to the construct plan. This is not a lot better, but it does have a ponder to search. Put back Witherbloom. Witherbloom's so good. I'm going to put back, I mean, we're so far from casting this. Yeah, it's got to be Witherbloom. Okay, they play their terrible land. I'm going to save my wasteland. I think it's worth it to go ahead and start creating clues. We can search for a land next turn. I'm just hoping they play the Urza Saga as their second land. Okay. All right. We may want to go ahead and cut them off one of those lands. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and go to combat. It's totally possible that they could have Hullbreacher here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and waste. This gives them the mana they need for the Chandra, and Chandra is a beating. Yeah, I'm going to hit that. If I had gone for the blue one, they wouldn't have been able to use the mana. Here they may be able to use this. This is the Hullbreacher. I'm going to have to force this. Yeah, if I'd done that differently, well, they would have... Yeah, if I'd gone for that instead, then we wouldn't have had to worry about the Hullbreacher. So, yeah, maybe it was a mistake to go for the red. I was just thinking, like, what if they have Chandra? It's such a beating. Okay, well, we're getting lucky here, and we're going to cut them off lane completely. I kind of want to wait a turn to cut them off lane completely, if that's not too greedy, because I can go ahead and Thoughtseize them here. And I'm worried that they just rip something really good. They could have... We're getting farther ahead every turn we attack with Tamiyo. We can recoup these later. Okay, they're out of lands. This is good for, to say the least. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and attack. I think what we do here is we take this Welcome Reprieve. We could put a Bowmasters on the table, which squeezes them. We could also Thoughtseize, and then that makes it more likely that our Bowmasters does resolve. I'm going to go get a Bayou, which I sided out, so I'm not going to get a Bayou. I'm going to get an Underground Sea here, and I am going to go ahead and... Okay, they have a lot of very scary stuff. I think we take the LED, just because that allows them to potentially redo their hand. They're very far from casting any of these other cards. It's worth noting that Days Undoing just... Okay, yeah, they scooped. Okay, we're 3-0. We're doing great. That was a little touch and go with the mana. And, I mean, it's always scary when you board down to like 18 lands, but just have faith that you'll see the lands eventually, and hopefully you will. All right, we are up against the Doomsday Master, Eureka, a.k.a. Gosh, I'm blanking on his name. He has an actual human name, but he's super chill, and he always plays Doomsday pretty much. You can see that he is playing kind of a tempo version recently. This is a 5-0 list from 2 days ago. Congratulations. And Bowmasters. 3 main deck Bowmasters. It's kind of like a tempo, 2 Murktide, Jace Wielder of Mysteries. Yeah, this is an alternate win con. 1 Veil of Summer, so he's got a very light green splash, it looks like. Yeah, Bayou. He's living the 3-color life right here with me, the bug life. It's a bug's life. 3 cages, doesn't matter. 2 veils. These veils do matter. The Barragoyf is very scary. Barragoyf is hard for us to... Well, I mean, we're not going to board out our fatal pushes. Let's put it that way. Okay. So... I'm feeling pretty in danger. He could just turbo us. This hand is really strong. It's got Tamiyo. Let's just hope that he doesn't go for turn 1. I don't want... Like, Doomsday is not a card that a deck that I aggressively mold a force for. Because a lot of times they don't have an opening force. Okay, and this hand is very resilient to Doomsday. Or to Thoughtseize. There is the temptation. What's their mana count? 16 lands plus petals. There's certainly a temptation to just waste here. I want to get on board. This could be a mistake. They could just Doomsday, Dark Ritual Doomsday now. And I'd feel kind of like, if that was their only land. Yeah, that wasn't their only land. So I would have felt pretty dumb had I gone for that. But they do have, it looks like they're going to do it. So I'm not expecting to win this one, but I'm going to try my damnedest. Okay, blue mana. That is not Doomsday. Okay, their own Tamiyo. All right. We got the first Tamiyo. They're just brainstorming immediately. They don't know that we have Witherbloom in our hand, in our deck. But we do. They saw our hand. It didn't have any trace of green, so they're not expecting Witherbloom. I think we probably do go ahead and just play out the Hedge Maze just to maximize the likelihood of being able to benefit from Witherbloom. Okay, now we don't need to. I'm kind of thinking we waste. Yeah, we wasted their Black Source, and they may not be able to Doomsday. It sucks to waste into an active Tamiyo. Let's go ahead and start by attacking. And then I think I can ponder and see what I find. If I find a Witherbloom, then, that'll clearly delineate what the next few turns are going to look like. Brazen Borrower also does it. I love having lots of answers to things like Flip Tamiyo in my deck. So let's go ahead and ponder here. They could daze this. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play this. I don't want this to get dazed. And I'll shuffle anything that doesn't have Witherbloom in it. I mean, Bowmasters does stop what they're trying to do. I think we probably keep Bowmasters, and Rakshas's Bargain is great too. 2 turns from now. So I'm going to keep the land at the bottom. I'd rather them take the Rakshas's Bargain than the Bowmasters, so I'm do it like that. Now we're going to hit that, and we will pass. They did not have the Cycler, the Edge of Autumn. Okay, they're going up. The Ponder. I mean, they could have force for our Bowmaster, but I think we just have to wait and see what they do here. The fact that we have a clue out gives us plausible deniability that we have a Bowmaster in hand. I don't want to draw the land under here, so I am going to play this out. I think we actually do crack the clue in the end step. And the reason I think we do that is because, first of all, that removes an opportunity, like a turn cycle where they can kill our Bowmaster. And it also, like, I don't want to Bowmaster into days. So we won't. Yeah, they're holding up so much mana. I guess I'll show them the trop just in case I do draw the Witherbloom. I want to have it. All right, one more draw out to find Witherbloom. Or force would be great. Instead, we find a whole lot of nothing, which sucks. And they're going to think like, okay, the only reason they would still be playing is if they had Bowmaster. And I know my opponent has several Bowmasters. Yeah, we're cooked. There's no way we're going to stop this. Unless they just completely whiffed on any sort of interaction. I don't think this is going to work. So we should go ahead and, let's see, they're drawing, how many, they have 16 life. They are actually dead to the number of cards they're going to draw. So I'm going to just ping this, I guess. And scoop when they Bowmaster our Bowmaster. Yep, that sucked. That sucked. Like, because we have to kind of be prepared for the Doomsday plan while they're also tempoing us. Yeah, it's a cool tempo Doomsday build. I didn't know that people are still playing that. They're not playing Wasteland though. So we don't have to worry about lands. I'm not sure the carpet belongs. If you hear piano in the background, it's just my son playing. We don't necessarily need to make any changes. Force negation is good for sure. I don't want to take out the Fatal Push just because they're almost certainly bringing in these Barragoyfs. And that will bring them to a total of like 15 creatures. All of which are pushable except for Murktide Region. I definitely don't think we take it out. I want to keep my dazes in. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep the list the exact same as it was. The name of the opponent we're up against, Eureka 2242 Michael Reed. This hand doesn't do it. This also doesn't do it, sadly. We're getting some really bad luck with hands this league. Yeah, we have 19 lands in our deck. This is okay. It's not spectacular. I'm going to keep it. Murktide to the bottom for sure. I don't really want to put Witherbloom Command away because it can deal with like a lot of stuff they can do. It can mess up a pile. I mean, all these cards are fine. I'm not going to put the Wasteland away. I think I'm going to put the Brainstorm away. It sucks, but I think it's correct. We could put the Fatal Push away and hope to just find something. Technically, this will deal with like a lot of their early threats. So we probably have to Surveil here to try to find more land, which does take us off the ability to Bowmaster. They're just going for it. Okay. So, I think our game plan revolves around like, and I could have definitely like brainstormed there and tried to hit a force. I want to see what their pile looks like, and then that'll give me more information. I'll just, because if we can find a land, we can Witherbloom their pile and maybe remove some vital card from it, like a second land. They could have a second land in hand, and maybe we just, Witherbloom them to exactly their Oracle. I don't imagine they're going to give us a third turn, but I do think we're likely going to get another turn here. It's possible they have days in their hand. I have no illusion that Wasteland is going to get us there. They're not going to build a pile that's vulnerable to Wasteland, I don't think. They may already have a second land in hand. If we could waste and then Witherbloom into a second waste, that would probably do it. That would probably be enough. They may use Petals. We'll counter Petals. Okay, so they may be planning to fetch an Undercity Sewers to get deeper into their pile. I don't think that's a card they would cut. They have 2 Lotus Petals in their deck. Or two XL, so probably 1 in their main deck. I think they play 3. They're not on the Jace Welder of Mysteries. They're not on Consider. Okay, so let's count the Brainstorm Ponder. Let's do that whole thing. So BCD, so Brainstorm. They have 1, 2. So they have 2 Brainstorms in their hand. Okay, let's count the... I'm going to count days. 1 days. 2 days. So I suspect they have a daze in hand, and this Brainstorm is going to get dazed. But that does mean my next spell won't get dazed. Cyclers. I do not see any Cyclers in here at all. which tells me that they are probably just going to cycle through their deck next turn. Forces, 1 force, 2 force, 3 force. So they have a force in hand as well. Is that correct? I mean, it makes sense. They have 5 freaking cards in their hand. In terms of ponder, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I suspect their hand is 1 force, 1 daze, 1 petal, probably a fetch land. Let's see, how many fetches do they play? They play 8 normally. So let's count the fetches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have not used a fetch. They probably still have 2 fetches in their hand, which is why they're going to fetch the Undercity Sewer. Just to get deeper into their deck. Okay, so I think I need a brainstorm. And Bowmaster sadly isn't going to do anything at this point. I think we have to get lucky and somehow disrupt them mana-wise. So I am going to be brainstorming here just to make efficient use of mana. But I think almost certainly they have Daze and or Force in their deck. Okay, now there's a Force for us. So this goes back for sure. And I think we draw this. Then we can Witherbloom. Okay, my thinking is we go ahead and Witherbloom. Or we go ahead and waste first. No, I played this out. Actually, I didn't mean to do that. I think we go ahead and screw with their pile. And then we have Force. And hopefully this matters. It may not matter. This may actually just be helping them, for all I know. But I'm going to do it. Milieu. Drain 2 of your life. It will know whether this matters because they'll force it. And now we see whether this actually matters. They daze it. Yeah. So we're going to have to hope that Wasteland somehow gets us there, but I don't think that's going to work. Because I think they have a pedal. And I think they have both a Caverns and an Underground Sea. So we can definitely waste here, assuming we get a turn. But I'm not convinced it's going to matter. Daze may actually be helpful here, but it's not going to stop the thing. So let's just wait until they draw the Cavern before they put it on the stack. Do we want to dig deeper? If we don't dig deeper, or if we don't counter this, we probably just lose. But they're going to daze it back to hand is what they're trying to do. So I'm going to let that resolve. So they have Undercity Sewers almost certainly in their hand / pile. But we did work through their only daze. So I can just hardcast daze here. They have 1 card left. Actually, if I counter this, I think maybe they can't win. Because I think they have Undercity Sewers. They have the Cavern. Okay. So I don't know if they have the other card as their last card. I'm going to have to assume they have something going on there. Well, that's freaking lucky. That is an insane luck. Yeah, wow. Oh, that felt great. That was luck. That was luck, though. Yeah, you're gonna get bad luck, and then you're gonna get good luck. Don't get overly celebratory. Don't be sleeping. All right. There was no reason. Like they could have been playing a 4th daze, so there was really no reason for me to cast the daze paying the mana. It wouldn't have mattered either way. I don't think. I could have just replayed. Because I was not going to draw both a land and a spell that was castable. It was just sloppy play for me too. But I was so confident they had 3 dazes. And I was right, but they could have easily had a 4th daze in their deck for some reason. It could just be like they decided to play 4 dazes that day. Nethergoyf does beat face pretty aggressively. Doesn't disrupt. There's certainly an argument for bringing in a force negation if they're going to turbo like they did. I think I'm just going to keep it the same. But Witherbloom forcing them to force and daze was pretty good there. Like it was clear, we were clearly touching on something sensitive, and we finally get a hand that is keepable right off the bat. So I will keep this. They'll probably Thoughtseize and take my force and then win anyway. But we have the potential to surveil. Okay, and they don't have any aggressive Tamio opening either, which is great. All right, another force, always welcome. Not always welcome, but right now for sure. Here's the Undercity. No, they're not playing Undercity Sewer? Interesting. Like, I would never imagine you wouldn't play Undercity Sewer in a deck like this. Like, it helps you find your Doomsdays. But Michael Reed is no pushover. Like, he's almost certainly done the math and figured out that you can't get away with it. All right, here's another brainstorm. Okay, just firing them off. I think the fact that we're playing Wasteland in Days is going to be a really big deal. All right. So this Witherbloom is not getting cast. Like, we just can't afford to cast it right now because getting back a land is not consequential. We're just getting flooded. All right. Well, let's see if we don't draw a land here. I'll be very happy. Okay. Ponder is not a land. All right. So I do think we ponder because we could find a Wasteland. Or, I'm sorry, we could find a Thoughtseize. We have 3 of those. These are all great. I think we keep the Days. We take the Days now. We could cast Tamio next turn, which seems pretty good. Yeah, I think Tamio is pretty good because we get her out, and then if the game does drag on, Tamio's going to be a true rock star. She's going to be a literary star since she's all about books and stuff. She'll be a New York Times bestseller. Okay, this is the second, surveil opportunity that they've forgone by not having a surveil land in their deck. Okay, Dark Rit. I think we play it safe and we pitch the Ponder. We know we have lots of stuff coming. Unfortunately, I have to force this. It's just too good. Hopefully they don't have like a Spell Pierce or something at the end. Oh, they had a freaking force at the end of the chain. So they get a card and then they get to Doomsday. Yeah, we're not winning. Even though they like expended so many resources there. Yeah, that sucks. And there wasn't a way that I could have done it differently. I'm just going to have to hope that the Witherbloom command does some work here. Now that it's on the radar, they're almost certainly going to stack in a way that it doesn't matter. So we've got Ponder and Brainstorm and Tamio on top of our deck. Unfortunately, neither of those are likely to matter. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Witherbloom them immediately. Yeah, no, I need to wait. No, there's no way they're going to take a slow pile. I've only got 3 cards in my hand. If I shave their deck down to just 1 card, they just immediately win. And I don't think they're going to give me extra turns. I think they're going to be an aggressive strategy here. Okay, so let's do our BCD FOP. But I do believe this is a completely futile exercise. I think we're super dead. So B is Brainstorm, all their Brainstorms in exile. C, Cyclers. Their Consider's out. They do have their Cyclers in. So we can assume that, Cavern's not. I guess they're just, okay, let's take a look at it. 4. Oracle is almost certainly in. Well, the Jace is not in the pile. So it could be that they're planning to Jace. Okay, let's count their petals. 2, 3, and their Ponders. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. They didn't keep the creature plan in. Like they do have Bowmasters, but like I probably could have shaved a little bit. I think they probably have Jace, Wilder, or Mysteries. It's possible that we Witherbloom them and that does something. Like maybe they wouldn't think we would have it, but like I would be hyper aware of it if I were them because we cast a previous game. I think it's our best shot. I don't think we have any option here. So I want to keep that Ponder on top of my deck just in case there is another green, black. Again, I don't think this is going to matter. I will get back my fetch here. I've got a Ponder on top. I will go ahead and play out the Tamio. We counted their days. It shouldn't matter. We're dead. We get Jace, Wielder, Mystery out of their deck, but they're going to be able to win now with Thassa's Oracle. We showed them that we don't have a... I shouldn't have actually played that because that shows them that we don't have a force. But here's the Thassa. Yeah, good games. Okay. So that's a sad losing to Doomsday. We lost to Doomsday in the previous league as well. But it was like a different version of Doomsday. But it's cool that Doomsday has like so many different versions and stuff. There's never really been decided. I guess during the Frog time, everybody was on Frog Doomsday, and that made sense as the one build. But I've encountered a lot of different builds. No shame in losing to one of the best Doomsday pilots ever. All right, excited to tell you that this final round looks like it's going to be tempo on tempo, like a Death Shadow type build. They have 2 snuff outs. They have 2 fiddle pushes. I am going to go ahead and get this Tamio on the table. I like having lots of lands against Death Shadow. They are a 4 wasteland, 4 days deck. So we can get in underneath the wasteland here. I'm not going to get my basic because I want to bait them to waste me. All right, Tommy's in. They do have snuff out, which if they have a swamp, that does take care of her. There's a grave. Fiddle push. It's tempting to force that, but I don't think we can afford to. We need to be ready to do other stuff, but we don't have a lot going on now. I will get a Surveil trigger next turn. That's quite good. There's the temptation to go ahead and Brainstorm just to get around. Yeah, I'm going to do it now. I don't want to deal with Bowmasters on my Brainstorm. Okay, this is phenomenal. Put back 2 Force of Wills. I could put back an Underground Sea. I think I'm going to put back the Underground Sea, and I'm not going to fetch. Like, if they waste me, then I will not fetch. But we just dramatically improved the quality of our hand. Force is not good in this matchup, but Street Wraith, I mean, it could be impactful. I think I just dazed this. Yeah, I don't want to give up my Bowmaster. And they may try to force this through, in which case I can force. Do they only have 1 land? Okay. So it was just kind of like a sloppy play to not play that out, I guess. They didn't think I would daze that. We have a land on top. They haven't wasted us. I'm going to go ahead and Surveil. See if we can dig into some action. We are very much a defensive deck here. That stays on top. Now we can use this to force through a Bowmaster. But as I'm fond of saying, let he who is without sin cast the first Bowmaster. I guess what I could do is I could go ahead and Bowmaster now. And then if they want to daze it, they can. Or then I could daze and get this back. Okay. You have successfully taken out my land. Do you have your own Bowmaster now? So here I think this is actually a force. No, daze is going to depreciate in value. I'm going to go ahead and do this. It sucks to go to like 0 land basically, but we can play this Hedge Maze out. They daze back. Okay. Not going to pay for it, but I am going to force here. And if they have a second daze, then the game's over. Wow. The game's probably over. I'm trying to think of how we could get back into this. How did that all go so wrong? We went from having a great thing going there. I cast my Bowmaster first, but I was trying to save my land, and I did not save my land. So maybe that was just a bad play. Yeah, I'm going to keep that. I need to be able to get rid of this. That answers almost every threat in their deck. I'll just chill. I will happily trade off my Orc Army for their Bowmaster. Shocking even lower. They can only attack for 1. It could be that we just keep it back. No, I'm just going to block. They're an aggro deck. This is Death Shadow. We go ahead and push it, or I'll daze it. It's a pretty important card. They have daze number 3. I'm just going to play that out. That is going to be way too late. All right, so if they waste our green source, which is not that important. We rip a Witherbloom command, and we just go to town here. There's the second land. They shock even lower. They have another shadow, which I'm gonna have to push the shadow instead of the Bowmaster here, probably. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and push it now just to reduce the likelihood that they draw an answer. Like, yeah, because they could have blue card or they could have force with no blue card. Yeah, so they're winning. Land. All right, glad to see that. No Kaito. Think we wait a turn cycle. Yeah, I'm gonna wait a turn cycle. Because once I do it, I immediately take a ping and then it doubles the damage I take each turn. If I can find a Fatal Push or a Bowmaster or something first, it like unlocks this. Okay. I am going to go ahead and ponder. Fatal Push is pretty good. These other cards are not very good. I want the Fatal Push to get through. Force on the bottom, then Brainstorm, then Fatal Push. This Fatal Push has to resolve. I'm deliberating over whether to cast it now. I think it is a cast now thing. Okay. And the reason is they're going to potentially have Hardcast Force up next turn, and they can just cleanly, force my push. Yep, and that's what would have happened. So they're going to take me off green here, I presume. Unless they're holding Hardcast Force, which would make sense. Like, they'll definitely be telling me they have Hardcast Force. Okay, so we're drawing another Brainstorm. I think we just chill. If they Bowmaster, I'm going to double Brainstorm. I can actually Brainstorm into Force if I need to. I know that's on top of my deck. Okay, they're coming in for another hug. This could be a giant Merc. I will Brainstorm into Force. Do you have a Bowmaster? Well, I'm going to have a Bowmaster. That is very delectable. So I will go like this. I'll take the Bowmaster for next turn. I'm going to just force this because I don't have a good answer to it. See if they have a force back. I know they have a force because they kept mana open. It's just, do they have a blue card? I guess not. So I'm going to go ahead and play this now. I'm going to main phase it. Got nothing else going on, but I want to get in when they can't force, and I also want to lock them off of any cantrips they have in hand. And now we have the initiative. Tommy's fine. We'll have to clear her eventually. So I think maybe they didn't have Hardcast Force, but they certainly looked like they did. Okay, so I'm just going to come in with both. No fear. I want to play this out. I'm not going to do anything with it. If they Bowmaster, the game will basically be over. I just need to keep doing damage. If they attack to create a clue, then we can hit them for 2. This matchup is all about Bowmaster superiority. They could just drop like another Death Shadow, and that'd be catastrophic as well. Another Murktide wouldn't necessarily be the end of the game. Yes! All right, so they are desperate enough to crack the clue. All right. I'm going to pull back my Bowmaster here. This is just brutal. That puts them at 1. They can't even fetch. I'm going to Surveil. I feel like we can do that. They would have used Bowmaster by now if they had it. I don't care for either of these. I'm just looking for a Bowmaster to finish them off. They almost certainly do not have life gain in their deck because it's like Death Shadow. The whole point is to get your life low. I think we just won, but I don't want to get over confident here. Yep, we did. Heck of a game. Absolutely heck of a game. I like practically conceded earlier when they had the Bowmaster, or when they were able to stop my Bowmaster. Yeah, I was just trying to save my land from getting wasted. All right, and then this is just very clean, like carpet in. Spellbomb does slow down Arrival of Murk. It's not terrible. Let's talk about what is terrible in this deck. I think Wastelands are pretty bad, but they are a low mana count. I think we could probably just take out 2 Wastelands and just assume we're not going to be wasting them. Because like they can win off 1 mana. We have cards like Rakshasa, Bargain, and Kaito in our deck. Like we're never going to be wasting them. Okay, so this brings us to basically 19 mana source, but like a Carpet is a very upgraded mana source. Nethergoyf is quite good because he can come back from the dead. I think if we're taking out wastes, we take out the dazes on the play, on the draw. And I think I'm going to bring 1 more Wasteland back in just to have an extra mana. It does suck to take out all your dazes, but like they're really bad against this deck, in my humble opinion. This is a good enough hand that I'm going to keep it. Like Tamio is not nothing. It's got Ponder to find more action. The double force is good because I like Borrower a lot in this matchup because it deals with Flip Tamio, which they aggro flip their Tamio. And it also deals with Murk. So we're going to turn 1 just Tommy, and then turn 2 we'll Ponder. That's a good rip. We could go ahead and Ponder underneath. I think it's worth getting Tamio out. Generally, like the sooner you get her out, the better she is. And if they if they push her, or it's not that big a deal. Murktide is very hard for them to deal with. They may have like 1 or 2 Brazen Borrowers in the deck, but that's it. And they're lowering their life total. So Murktide, like on the table, I'm not going to fight over that. That's fine. All right, good news, boys and girls. We are going to be able to Ponder without fear of retribution. I'm going to go ahead and Ponder with this card up. I might want to actually Ponder both times. Yeah, this is pretty good. With these lands, Brainstorm is a little bit risky. I'll take the land, and then if they don't do anything, I can shuffle away the other land. But I'm just going to take it slow. I mean, like every turn this game goes on, the advantage bar moves slightly to our side because we do have the bigger, payoff cards. Tommy's fine. I hope they aggro Flipper. All right, real question. Do we want to shuffle this away? I don't think we do because we want to have a backup black source. Yeah, I'm going to take the land. I think I'm going to go ahead and just shuffle this. I don't want that Brainstorm. I really don't want Thoughtseize. That's a card that I wish I had not kept in my deck. It's pretty bad against their deck. Bowmaster is quite good. Good Bowmaster with double force. If they attempt to draw, that feels pretty aggressive. This Swamp is not necessary. Yeah, I'm going to put the Bowmaster in my hand just in case I do need to like turbo him out. I'd rather them waste this than waste one of our blue sources since I have Murk in hand. Next turn we do have Murktide. Yeah, I think I'm just going to Murk next turn. That him is pretty irritating. I think we just pitch force here. It'll really suck if they force this. Okay, they didn't, thankfully. You can play around days, just be patient. I think this is a ponder situation, and then we can play Murktide around days. Fatal Push is quite good. I don't want these other cards though. I'm going to trust that the cards in our hand are good enough. I'm going to shuffle this. Yeah, I don't want either of these cards. I mean, like, wasting them may not be that bad at this point. It might trap a lot of stuff in their hand. Did we play our land already? Yeah, I just freaking reflexively played that out. That was bad. I think actually wasting them might be. Let's any order shuffle this. Okay, we got a wasteland anyway. We go blue, blue. We're going to hope that they don't have Brazen Borrower because I'm going to go all in on this. Just trying to end this because I don't want them to come up with a bigger one. And they could very well come up with a bigger one. It'll be 2 swings with this Merc. No way they're going down without a fight with 6 cards in hand though. There's the Snuff. Okay. And now they can Tommy. They can create another clue. Just put us further into debt. I am going to waste. I'm still going to waste. Hopefully they waste me. And then I waste them back and it's pretty devastating. Don't Thought Seize me. Death Shadow. Okay, that's scary. I'm going to waste them off blue here. I'm going to go ahead and go for this. I think it's quite likely that they have a borrower of their own. We can't kill anything. I'm just going to, just do some damage to him, I guess. I don't know that it's correct. Like, we can't hit, we could hit Tommy and just not running. I think I do this and then I have borrower. Like, they get one crack at me with borrower and then we potentially have like a lethal attack. I'm taking a big risk here because all they need is a Bowmaster to end the game now. They did have the land, so they have blue again. But they don't have double blue for Merc. Fatal Push would be brutal. I'm going to go ahead and cast this now and hope that they don't have days, but like they almost certainly have days. I will bounce. Do I want to bounce Tommy out of? No, I have to bounce this because if they brainstorm to fizzle this, so they can recast this or they can just daze. But then they're going to do 2 damage to themselves. Okay, they're doing 2 damage to themselves. We can play this out and this can attack them to dead. Oh, this is their Bowmaster. Okay, so we're still screwed. But at least it's not taking out this. This can fly over and hit them. Best draw. Oh, wow, they kept it back. Best draw is Bowmaster. I think we Thoughtseize here just to get it out of the way. Plague Engineer. That's good tech. Death Shadow is the one that's going to kill us, though. Yeah, they can name... Yeah, it's high risk, high reward. You want to take the Plague Engineer? That's a really cool card. I haven't seen it in a while. I used to love playing that card. I don't think it's good enough. I'll just keep my Orc Army back. 2 swings and they're dead. Assuming they can't disrupt. They've used 2 Snuff Outs. So they still have Fatal Push, which they can activate by wasting. All right. So you are going to have to double. Okay, just brainstorm now. That's fine. Yeah, they can decrease our power. But I do think it's correct to go ahead and attack them. Because 2 attacks plus a Bowmaster and we win. They can buy back Snuff Out, but they won't have the mana, or they won't have the life. No, they'll have the mana to cast it. Ponder. Yeah, they've got like all the cantrips and stuff. We're just sitting here with nothing. And it really does trace back to that hymn. That hymn was brutal. I know that I say that I don't think it's a legacy playable card, but it occasionally is extremely strong, and it was there. Yeah, here's the Death Shadow, and they have 1 unknown in hand. What? They had this? Okay, we're dead. I mean, we were dead before, but we're like super dead now. And now they can even attack in for 2. What could we draw that would be good? Kaito? Oh, they didn't even attack. If we push one of those and we attack in, it does 1 damage, which is pathetic. I think it's better. Like, I think we have to just live in a world where we're under the specter of Bowmasters. At least we can kill one of these this way. I'm going to push that out of the way. I'll go ahead and attack them. Or, yeah, I'll attack them. Because later we draw a Bowmasters and we can potentially get in enough damage. Witherbloom also helps. They're not willing to block this. Witherbloom would be so sweet if we get a chance to do it. They're getting their giant Death Shadow out. It's a 10-10. They have another Bowmaster? What is this? They haven't even cracked their clues. They're just drawing so much gas. Okay, clue draw. Water Grave. Plussing. There's the shadow. Okay, so we need to figure out a way to get through that. Bowmaster would go a long way. Kaito would be insane here. Actually, no, Kaito wouldn't be great. And we drew a dud. I think we can continue because we're going to take a tremendous amount of damage. Right. I think dazes do come back in because dazing like could take out some forces. Wasteland could come back in. I think Wasteland, at least early on, would have been good there. Do we take out all the forces? It feels bad. It feels really bad, especially on the play. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it like this. We're just going to lean into, interacting with them through superior cards. We do have better cards than them in terms of just like the sheer card quality. We can fire these Wastelands off pretty aggressively considering that we have 21 mana sources in our deck. I think I'm going to keep this. It's sketch, but I don't want to go deeper. We can hope to draw a Brainstorm and dig out of this. Thoughtseize is terrible against them. I know I said I was going to take it out. I probably should have. See if we can get them to waste us. Show me a Wasteland. Okay, they have a similarly dirtily hand. I don't think Wasteland's going to be doing much work this game at all. We'll just take their Tommy. Yeah, and they're just sitting there with nothing going on. Crazy how we both flooded out when both of us are playing like tempo decks with minimal land counts. Okay. Wasteland. Fire it away. That is not what this game is going to be about. Surveil here. Yeah, that seems. And then I can daze. And then I can get another Surveil. Because my hand is so dirtily, there's nothing going on that I think that's correct. Did you draw something that's worth playing? I will daze just to protect my Fatal Push. It's a good card against them. This gives me a second Surveil trigger. That goes in the graveyard for sure. Yeah. Fatal Push is definitely worth more at this point than... And it also slows them arriving at a low life total. They haven't used any fetches, but they've succeeded in getting their life a little bit lower. Okay, Tamio's fantastic. Let's go and get Underground Sea, I guess. We'll play this out. This could be the card that breaks it open. We'll see whether they draw removal. So they've got one unknown and 4 lands in hand. All right, it looks like Sun is playing piano again. Okay, they played the Flood of Stranded out. I mean, this could mean Bowmasters, which I do have Fatal Push for. What do we want to do here? I do want to ponder. I don't think they have both days. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. They would have to have both days and Bowmaster, which they do have 2 unknowns, but those would have to be their cards. They'd be so lucky if they had it. Okay, they don't have it yet. That's great. I don't want this card. I definitely didn't want the land. I would have rather had the Tomio here. Well, yeah, and I shouldn't have taken the Merc. Let's see, how big is Merc? Merc's big enough. I think I want to actually shuffle this. I think I can do better. Thoughtseize. Well, there's a decent chance they have literally nothing in their hand. Like, it's just lands. They're fetching. So our Tommy's going to die probably here. Do they have the Bowmaster? It was double blue for Petty Theft. Okay, that's fine. And this might be the only spell. They had the Shadow. Okay, great. I'm glad we took that. All right, and we'll deal with this. We can deal with it through Fatal Push if we need to. There's their own Tommy, which we're going to have to push. Good news is they can't have both this Tommy and like some sort of interactive spell. We got the Merc. Sick. All right, so let's go ahead and push here. Clear her out of the way. Now I'm going to Hedge Maze here. Clear whatever the bad top card in my deck is. I'm actually going to keep that and hope they don't draw Bowmasters in case we need to flip her. Next turn we have pretty giant Merc. Their Merc would be smaller than ours. Ours can be full size. Yeah, full size. It's great. We just got super lucky this game. Like, we both had garbage hands, but mine has turned out much better. Like, that Ponder was huge. Being able to Thoughtseize their Shadow so we don't have to worry about it. Like, there's still a few turns away from being able to use it, but... All right, and now I'm just going to go ahead and Brainstorm. They've tapped out of Force. Or they've tapped out of... oh. Yeah, I don't want these Wastelands. Okay, so we get our clue. Plus here. I am going to go ahead and just Merc. Next turn I can hard cast a Kaito. All right, Merc's in. Feeling pretty favored. Our opponent's hand is 2 lands, I believe. They could draw a Snuff Out, which would be strong. Plague Engineer is not strong enough. My name Orc. Yep, Orc. Okay. Wasteland. That is actually consequential if they fire it off, but they don't know that. And so they're not doing it. Right? This is nice. I'm going to go ahead and just... do I want to tap this down so I can just get in damage faster? I think that's fine. No. Yeah, if I tap it down, they can't easily kill... They could Bowmasters plus attack to kill my Kaito. I think the correct thing to do is just go ahead and plus here. And I'll just come in for an attack. We'll see what they do. And then I can Kaito post-combat. Kaito comes out. Kaito is going to stun the borrower, I think, is probably the best thing to do. If I just plus, then they attack Kaito for 3. He doesn't die. And they're dead to Kaito attack next turn. Yeah, I think that's the way. All right. And now we'll just pass. They're going to need something very special to stop both Kaito. Yeah, we got it. It's a 4-1. This deck feels insane. Losing only to one of the best Doomsday pilots on the planet, who literally runs like a Doomsday Patreon, which I subscribe to for like a month to get some insight on kind of like how he advises people to play Doomsday, because he's very influential. Super chill dude, Michael Reed. Everything else, like even the tempo mirrors, I feel like green does bust it open pretty hard. Witherbloom's good. Rakshas's Bargain, I think we cast that 0, maybe 1 time the entire league, but it's certainly strong. At this point, I'd say this is way better than Beans. I hate to say it, I love Beanstalk. This feels way better than Bug Beans. I played a lot of Bug Beans, and Bug Beans in theory can go over the top, but how many matchups do we really need to go over the top? We're almost always struggling just to survive. And I feel like, so that's 2 leagues. You can watch the other one that came out yesterday if you want, but we're 7-3 across those 2 leagues. 2 of the losses have been to Doomsday. Sorry, you're really going to go and watch that video now that I've given away the outcome of this one. But I'm going to presume that you're following these day to day, and I'll try not to that you're not banking a whole bunch of videos. I can't wait till I go on my vacation. That you're watching them in order if you are going to watch them. Yeah, so the green splash 100% feels worth it. I don't know that Bayou is the correct land. I would definitely probably rather do this, because we're lots of situations where oh man, we could get wasted off of it, but we could get wasted off black now because we only have 3 black sources and 3 blue sources. So adding the Bayou does solve that problem of Delver wastes you a whole bunch. So yeah, I think probably Bayou could say. So I don't really have any feedback. The 4th Blue Blast did feel a little excessive. Having the basic swamp in the sideboard also feels a little bit excessive, frankly. I never fetched that. And every time I saw it off a ponder, I was like, ugh, gotta get that away. If we pull that, it does reduce our matchup against Moonstompy. Carpet is so good against these tempo decks. I haven't played against Moonstompy in a while. I think it's been 3 or 4 leagues since I played against it. I have been playing against a lot of Reanimator. So my immediate intuition is maybe add another now Spellbomb. Another deck that's kind of annoying, Bosch and Roll talked about this a little bit on Eternal Glory, the bi-weekly podcast, which twice a month, basically every 2 weeks, they publish an episode. There's a card called Damping Sphere that basically the thesis of what he was saying was a lot of combo decks, you need to fight them with permanents that crimp their actual deck, like Null Rod, like Damping Sphere, like Grafdigger's Cage. And that you can't necessarily rely on counter spells alone to get you there. Now, I would counter with are you playing in the same leagues that I am? Because a lot of times against Omnitell, you want to max on Force Negation, right? So let's say hypothetically we went back to 3 of these. We could add a Null Rod. I don't know. Did we play any decks that it would really matter to have a Null Rod? The other thing is Witherbloom is freaking insane card, and I'm always tempted to go up to 4 or 3. Every time I go up to 3, I draw too many though. So like a lot of people are like on the Discord, like various Discords that I frequent, people are like, should I go up to 3 Witherbloom? It feels so good. The general rule is like the marginal value of a card drops with each copy you run. And I can't think of anything I'd remove from the deck. Like it may seem like this Nethergoyf is like sticking out as a sore thumb, like, but we are a tempo deck. I'm not going to go up to 4 days. I don't think 4 days is correct right now, unless you're doing like straight up Delver where everything is 1 mana. We have lots of 2 drops in our deck. We even have 3 drops, right? So Kaito continues to be awesome. That's one reason why I think this deck is better than Beanstalk. Beanstalk in theory could play 4 Bowmasters, but you really crowd that 2-drop slot if you play 4. And because you've also got like this, and you got the Beanstalks themselves, and Pokemoki's solution was to go down to 3 Beanstalks, but then like you're building around a card and you're not even maxing out on the card. Like that feels wrong. And I've experimented with 3 Beanstalk and it felt okay. And I even have a league where I play with Pokemoki and you can hear his thinking. I totally respect where he's coming from, but like it just doesn't feel right. I guess I can't make like a really strong analytical argument for why, but like you want to get at least like the first one's going to get dazed or forced, and then the second one's going to stick, and then that's what you're going to ride to victory. And if you only have 3 copies of a card in your deck, you're only going to see 1 copy in a given game if you're lucky. So you're probably never going to have a second Beanstalk after they counter your first Beanstalk, right? So that's kind of my reason. Like you want to have all 4, in my opinion. Harbinger continues to feel like maybe a 1 of, maybe a 0 of. I mean, with Wasteland and with Witherbloom command, you effectively have like 6 Wastelands in your deck. Can't really think of what to replace it with. The Swamp is there because you do want to have a Swamp to win the game with, but we do have Brazen Borrower and Murktide to win even under that. And like, yeah, I don't know. Like a Daze deck playing 20 land feels weird to me. I don't know. I'm going to put the Swamp back in though. As weird as it feels, like it's not uncommon for brewers. Like Pokemoki had a Swamp in his sideboard with his original Bug Beans. Both me and Bosh and Roll frequently add like mountains when we play Jeskai. Like I put a mountain in the sideboard because you don't necessarily have any main deck red cards, but you do want to have red and a basic red for your second matches. I don't know. Like I'd welcome feedback here, but I think probably Damping Sphere is a better card than the marginal value decreases fast when you have 4 of. Like you just want 4 of your really, really key spells like Force. Like how many cards do we actually have 4 of? We have the 4 Orcish Bowmasters. By the way, in a tempo deck, you do want to have 4 Tamio. She is worth having 4 of. And I think you probably saw that in the league. But unless a card is absolutely exceptional, like we've only got 3 Wasteland, we've only got 3 days, we've only got 3 Thoughtseize, you don't want to max out on it. I just wish Tamio wasn't legendary because I would like to play Mockingbird, but I can't bring myself to play Mockingbird with a list like a lot of times there just wouldn't be a creature on the table. We're actually extremely creature light, considering we would never bring a Murktide. You would never ninjutsu a Murktide back to your hand. Murktide is just too powerful. So that really just leaves us with, 11 creatures that we can potentially ninjutsu. The other option is we could just put like a Barragoyf in the sideboard, but I'm not as high on Barragoyf as everybody else is. And the reason is, just because chumped all day by Bowmaster tokens. And yes, you're gaining life, but it's like, I don't know. It may be good against Moonstompy. But I'm just going to leave it like this. Putting the Damping Sphere in, I think, will help against some matchups. It's not going to come in against Doomsday. In some ways, like Damping Sphere is almost like performing the same function that Harbinger of the Sea is. So let's think about this. Let's say we wanted to get rid of this because it's a stinky swamp in a 3-color deck where we need lots of different colors. So we take this out. We take out the Harbingers completely because we don't want to really play them. And then we bring in something like, Dress Down, which is a blue card that pitches to Force and also addresses the Construct plan. We could bring in Pernicious Deed. Pernicious Deed is expensive. So we bring in Dress Down. And then we still have slots. I mean, against tempo, maybe we want a second carpet. It is a pretty good card. I would have definitely not minded, cutting my Wastelands and bringing in carpets there. And then we have one more slot, which, I don't know. I mean, I'm tempted to bring in Deed, but Deed does blow up Tamio. Oh, no, it doesn't blow up a flip Tamio, but it blows up all your clues. blows up your Bowmaster, Orc Army, answers a lot of stuff. I mean, Deed is really good against fair decks. Okay, and I figured out the sideboard. Okay, so this is what I'm going to play during my next league. So I think we go up to the 4th Graveyard Disruption effect. I think it's fine to play 3 Nile Spellbombs and 1 Grafdigger's Cage. Again, this could easily be, you know, some better mix, but like I like having 1 Grafdigger's Cage. It's a redundant effect. You draw a redundant Nile Spellbombs, you can just cycle through them. It's not a big deal. But Grafdigger's Cage, it just sits on the table and does one thing, right? So you want to always have one of these unless it has serious dyssynergy with your deck. In this case, the only card it affects is Nethergoyf. And then you want to be able to just have lots of Graveyard Disruption because you are going to encounter Reanimator. The Damping Sphere is here. This is good against, obviously, Storm. This is good against Omnitell, any stack-based, you know, combo deck. The Epic Gamble, like should you run into that, Ruby Storm, all that stuff. And then I went back down to 3 Hydro Blasts, and I did bring in the Pernicious Deed. And my calculation, here, let me show you my updated sideboard guide here. So my calculation is that you could probably bring in Deed against Painter for sure, both blue and red. Painter, it'll be really good. And the upside of Deed blowing up literally everything, and instead of just being like a blastable, a pyroblastable dress down type effect, I think it's good enough to play Deed. And so what I did was against Painter, we're just stripping, like this is red Painter. I'm not necessarily going to create a separate section in each video description just for blue Painter. I think it's much the same, but you don't take out the blue cards. The reason you take these out is Painter generally plays like tons of pyroblast effects. And then we can bring it, like I think the second carpet is better than the Swamp. The Swamp is really only useful in like if you're up against like a Moon Swampy type deck. That because every other situation, you've got plenty more duels. You just go get a different duel when you get another fetch. You like against all the blue-black tempo and against the blue-red tempo, you're going to prefer to have carpet to a Swamp, in my opinion. And then, yeah, like double carpet can come in against Omnitell just because you've got a lot of dead cards. So you can board out your pushes, your Witherblooms. You can board out a land as well. And then you still got all your wastelands in just in case they're playing like Tropical Islands. Yeah. And then having this additional Graveyard Disruption does give us additional game against Oops. So yeah, I think that this list, like I'm very excited to play with this board. In terms of main deck changes, I don't think there are any main deck changes to be made. Please leave comments with timestamps. If you have feedback on any of my deck building decisions or my play, I always appreciate that. And until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.